Hello everyone, it's Jauda. Today's presentation is Bridging the Communication Gap Between Teachers and Parents for Creekside Middle School. The background problem was that there was sporadic or non-existing communication between teachers and parents. The solution that we are trying to come up with is to help the middle school design an app for parents to stay updated on school news and their children's classes and activities. But for our analytical goals, we had two. The first one is we need to look into the why. Why do we want to create the app in the first place? And why are we interested in keeping parents informed? We want to quantify the impacts of doing that. Parental involvement on student test scores. And then we look into the how. Once we do design, we are going to create the app. What are parents interested in? What do they want to learn more about? If we dig into the why first, this is what we found. We found that there was a downward trend where students' test scores have been falling since 2004, and that's the problem. The reason is because parental involvement also dropped in 2004, despite there being a 14 percentage point increase if there are parents involved versus when parents are not involved. Basically, we think the drop in the student test scores because it correlates so well with parental involvement that the lack of parental involvement is the reason why test scores are dropping. And so that's why it's really important for us to increase the parental involvement to improve our student test scores. That's the why. Next, we want to go into the how. What are the things that the parents would want to know about? This idea comes from a survey in which we asked students what kind of activities that they are involved in, and most student activities can be grouped into the following three categories: sports, academics, and extracurricular clubs. And what's interesting is, if we looked at the news alerts that's sent out, there are the things that the parents are notified about currently, and broke it down from 6th graders, 7th graders, and 8th graders. We found that the 7th graders received the least attention. They had the fewest number of news alerts published. What that means, these two data points is that, number one, for the categories, we should create 3 tabs or a way in which we can easily group activities into 3 buckets: the academic, sports, and extracurricular activities. Secondly, because 7th graders were the ones who had the least amount of attention, we would have the biggest amount of impact if we prioritize targeting them during our test launch. In summary, based on the analysis that we did, the why we want to create an app in the first place is because parental involvement is highly correlated with higher test scores. And how to best design this app. When we build this app, we want to make sure the app has 3 categories or 3 tabs for each activity category, and we should prioritize a version 1 launch for parents of 7th graders. Here's what a timeline of events could look like. The first 2 weeks for analysis, and then we are presenting the analysis now, and then good chunk of time where you can build the app, and during the testing and iteration, this is where we want to focus on the 7th graders, get their feedback, and then finally we can launch and open it up to all other grades. That's how we can build V1 or version 1 of the app. But we always want to improve. Further exploration or ways in which we can improve for version 2 of the app is, we can look at additional questions like What is the impact of having multiple children involved in the same school? Does that help improve test scores even further? What's the impact of having one caretaker involved versus multiple? So the recommendations for the next steps. One, we want to share these insights with the person or the team building the app so that they can build an app for parents to easily move between those 3 tabs, the 3 activity categories. And 2, once we enter the testing and iteration phase, we should prioritize building for 7th graders for the biggest impact. Alright, it's time to wrap up. So thank you very much. That's all I had for today.